Welcome to the Washdown podcast. And on this week's episode, James and I will be talking with Vicki Mauck and Kelly Campbell from Military Matters, and they will be telling us about that program and everything they do with that. So I hope you guys enjoy. We had a great conversation, learned a lot. So here it is, the Washdown podcast with special guests Vicki Mauck and Kelly Campbell. All right, yeah. See how easy that is?
Well, I'm intimidated. I'm scared.
Well,
it was so easy. It just feels like it.
Like it should.
And Vicky's over there intimidating me. She's got that glare through the. I can just start to see.
I smile. Intimidating.
Well, Vicki, Kelly, thank you guys for joining us today. So why don't we just jump right into it? And why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us why you're here?
Vicki, go first.
I'll go first. Hello, Jeremy and James. I'm Vicki Mauck. I'm the Executive Director of the Kansas City Metropolitan Bar Association and Kansas City Metropolitan Bar Foundation. I've been in that role for 11 plus years. I refer to myself as a recovering lawyer because once you're trained to think and your brain to work like that, it's hard to undo that. But I'm no longer practicing law, but I work as a full-time professional staff for those two organizations.
And Vicki is a veteran.
I served 10 years in the U.S. Navy Reserves.
Thank you.
Kelly's a veteran too.
Yeah. I'll espouse Vicki's credentials a little bit more than she was too humble to say. She is in charge of herding all of the cats, all the lawyers involved in KCMBA, which is it's got to be over 1,000 attorneys, and she does a fabulous job. 5,000 attorneys, right? Hosting all of our events, providing continuing legal education to attorneys. She is in charge of an organization of what we call CLE, Continuing Legal Education called Bench Bar, which is an annual event down at Lake of the Ozarks where all the attorneys and judges get together to drink a lot. And she is gracefully in charge of the entire event and does a fabulous job of making sure we're all in line and we don't get into trouble and we don't get arrested.
No promises.
So she, yeah. And prior to that, I'm just going to keep going on Vicki because I'm her biggest fans. She was general counsel at a large energy company here in Kansas City as well, KCP&L. So she knows how to deal with the corporate directors and the environment, as well as all of the lawyers she currently works with at KCMBA. So it's an amazing job. I've been a big fan for a number of years, and that's why I agreed to do this, even though this is my first time. All right.
We'll be gentle.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's easier to talk about someone else than yourself. My name is Kelly Campbell. I'm a partner at Spencer Fane, which is one of those old, traditional law firms here in Kansas City. And I'm a trial attorney, which means I go into court and I argue cases for clients. I enjoy doing products liability defense work and toxic tort defense work, which is probably something that many of your listeners don't interact with. But I will say this, I've worked with in firefighters sometimes are my witnesses when it comes to a large event, because they're kind of the first responders. And sometimes we unfortunately have companies that experience a large event, unfortunately, like a chemical incident or what have you. And firefighters are the first responders. So I'm dealing with a lot of witnesses that are firefighters and emergency workers and hospital people. Prior to joining Spencer Fane, I served in the United States Navy, Judge Advocate General's Corps. So I was a JAG, and I prosecuted and defended Navy courts martial. I enjoyed the work immensely. I miss the work. It was an amazing experience for someone who grew up in Kansas to get to join the Navy and see the world. And I truly, truly recommend it to anyone who is ever considering, because it will phenomenally change your life. So I recommend it. I enjoyed it. I got a lot of great experience from it, and it taught me to be a better person.
And Kelly's modest too, because Kelly won't tell you that she is very well respected in our legal community, and certainly as a litigator. And she left out the fact that she's received a Navy Commendation Medal, 2 stars, and Navy Achievement Medal for her service.
Awesome. Well, I
don't have a good like stash of lawyer jokes. I got good cop jokes and good nurse jokes, but like no good lawyer jokes. So I don't know how I'm like gonna be sarcastic throughout the.
Yeah, maybe you leave the sarcasm at the door. So thank you.
I was just going to say, hopefully you won't need any jokes, because hopefully after this interview, you'll be like, damn, those are fine people and they are doing good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we hear. And that's why you guys are here, because we hear you're doing good stuff. You guys were recommended to us for the Military Matters thing. So why don't you guys tell us about that?
Sure. So I'll jump in first. So Military Matters is an entrepreneurial program that was created by local lawyers and so that the lawyers were able to connect with local veterans and active duty military members to handle lawsuits for them, either free or at a very, very low rate. Our team of people recognized that there was a gap in legal services, and many times service members and vets were unable to fix one small, relatively in the scheme of things, but one small legal problem, which snowballed into much greater problems in their lives. So we created this, and we'll tell you a little bit more about our partners in it in a little bit. But it is a referral program where we recruit the volunteer lawyers to handle the cases, and then we work with our partners to bring us the vets and active duty service members in need. So I think Kelly's going to talk about how it works.
A little bit. So what happens is we have a number of referral partners, the VA being one of them, but any organization is up in the air. What that means is, they see a veteran, they're helping the veteran for whatever reason the veteran is in their organization, but then they see, hey, there's a legal issue here and maybe this veteran needs some help. So they send that information over to our staff people. And then our staff folks, screen the issue, categorize it in terms of, hey, what is this? This is a bankruptcy matter, a credit matter, a divorce matter, any number of different issues, landlord tenant, that kind of stuff. And then they sort of filter it out and say, hey, this attorney has already signed up to do this kind of work for Military Matters, and we're going to go ahead and match these 2 people. And then our staff people send an email back or connect with the person that referred them and say, hey, we've got a lawyer for you. Here's the point of contact. Here's the issue. And then we connect the veteran with the lawyer. And then they have a discussion, make sure it's the right fit, make sure it's the right thing that they understood that they were gonna be able to provide assistance with, and they can have that expertise in the area. And then they assist the veteran. There's a couple qualifications. They need to be local in Kansas City, because this is the Kansas City, Missouri Bar Association. They also need to not have, it's not a forum shopping thing, which means they maybe have their own attorney. If sometimes, they might have their own counsel and don't like their own counsel's advice, so then they want to get someone else's advice. If they already have an attorney, we're not going to help them with that. It's not one of those things, because our attorneys, they're volunteering their time, and it is normally pro bono. And we've done a great job of how many hours and how much that would normally be to the local community, of devoting that time to the local community. So then they help them with the project or whatever the issue is, or try and clear it. If it's landlord tenant, try and help them with the bankruptcy, try and help them with the family matter if that's what they need. And the only issue is because we're trying to make sure that we have, enough attorneys to help and enough matching to help. It's one time per year. So it's not sort of like, they've got this issue, and 50 times with the same attorney or something like that.
Do you guys do criminal defense as well?
We do. The only thing that we don't handle are felony charges. We also don't handle any referral from jail. So if they're already in jail, we don't take those cases.
Okay.
And I'll elaborate a little on what Kelly said. So we have a 9-county service territory. So if it's a veteran, they need to live in our 9 counties or have a home of record if you're active duty in those 9 counties. And those are in Missouri: Platte, Clay, Ray, Jackson, Lafayette, Cass, and Johnson. And then in Kansas, it's Wyandotte County and Johnson County. So we have these referral partners that we work with, because when we were building the program, we recognized that we don't have the great access to the population as other people do. So our current referral partners are the Kansas City VA Medical Center, United Way, Kansas Legal Services, which is the legal aid for Kansas, and then the Veterans Community Project, which a lot of people know as the tiny houses. So if a veteran or service member is looking to utilize this program, they need to first contact one of those 4 referral partners, and they will do the intake with them. They verify their status. They either need to have their military ID card or a DD-214 to verify that they do in fact qualify, and then it goes from there. And then we have right now 240 lawyers who have signed up and volunteered to take cases. So when those cases come in, we look for who's available in the certain areas of practice. Somebody with a specialty in a certain area is a better lawyer to have representing you in that area, obviously. And then Kelly mentioned pro bono, and that basically is a fancy word for free or donated time. So we do pro bono and low bono, which means at very low cost. And we don't have any set guidelines for how much money you make to be able to participate in it. It's more of something that the service member or veteran works out with the lawyer that they're hooked up with. So if they can pay something, they make arrangements for that. And if they can't pay anything, then they make those arrangements. We also have funding to pay for filing fees and some other costs associated with lawsuits. Sometimes to file a lawsuit, you have to pay $150 filing fee, for example, or other fees to initiate certain things like bankruptcy. So in a nutshell, that's how the program works.
So how long has the program been running? And a follow-up question to that, have you seen in, I don't know, recent years an uptick in user service or?
So it's been running since 2016. And what happened during the pandemic is we did kind of see a leveling off, but in the last year, I mean, it's coming up. So let me give you some stats and see if this helps you a little bit. But since the inception, we've helped 1,654 members and veterans. And then in 2021, we helped 237 veterans for a total of, we estimated about 1,000 hours of attorney's time. And that's about $200,000 of free legal services that we provided.
Dang.
It's impressive.
That's more money than I got.
It's working out to be about a referral a day on the business days. So, and then we participate in events like Stand Down, and we see a surge in activity after that, after we're out in the community reminding people of this great service.
So something I want to ask, because I know you talked about where your referrals come in. A lot of law enforcement officers, especially here in the metro area, watch this and have been on this show. a lot of times they get called to situations that like they can't handle. It's they say it's a civil matter, it's above them, that something's going to be handled on a street curb. When they run into these incidences with veterans that are needing legal help, especially with the tenant situations and things like that, how is it best that they can refer you guys or make mention of you, or how would you prefer that they teach these veterans the avenue that you guys provide for them?
So the best pathway for the veteran is to come in through one of those 4 referral partners, because that's the only way that we accept any referrals.
Okay.
But the officer in your situation could tell them to go to militarymatterskc.org.
Okay.
And it lays it all out for you. And I'm hoping maybe you can put that email address in your show notes as well, so that it's a great website, and it tells you exactly how to do it, who qualifies, and how to take full advantage.
And the reason why we say that is because we don't have the staffing to have like this hotline or anything like that for folks to just call without having some sort of screening process. We're not there yet. Maybe someday in the future we will be. But as he alluded to earlier, I mean, we saw this gap and we wanted to make sure this gap was filled. And this is the way that we figured out that we can fill it right now. Someday in the future, maybe we will have more staffing or more funding to have people man the hotlines and get ready for those kind of phone calls.
Because I think there could definitely be a wide, especially like when you account to like different hospital ERs and with the social work staff in there, like there's definitely the need for it when that staffing arises, but definitely we will get those links up. Because I know it's a lot of times it sucks to not be able to give an answer, but if we can at least give a lead to somebody, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, and what we like about the partners that we work with is they are trained in crisis intervention. So they've got the particular training in case somebody is in real crisis, and they have access to other services that are also available to veterans, where we're only really just doing a small part of it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I've found, especially since we've been doing this podcast and I've kind of gotten more involved in that world of, mental health and then the veteran community and all of that. It's a lack of knowledge about resources. Because I have people call me all the time like, hey, who do I call for this? It's like, dude, I got to ask my wife. I don't know. So, and luckily she's been a great resource for me as far as being able to connect people with different things. But yeah, I mean, because there's so many programs out there, it's just hard to get them all under one roof. You know what I mean? And to let everybody know, because it's just that knowledge gap.
There is a knowledge gap. And the one thing I'll add to that, which is a lot of people that get out of the military, they feel like they have to have served 20 years and have an honorable discharge before they're entitled to anything. And that's not true. Anyone who has served in the military, with whatever type of discharge they received, they can come to us. And that's one of the hard things to communicate to other people, which is, hey, you served our country, we're here to help you.
Absolutely.
Have you guys seen an uptick at all, especially probably, I'd say, during pandemic and post-pandemic, on the criminal side? Because as we know, like our veterans homeless population is increasing, our addicts population is increasing. Are you guys finding an uptick in that, or how are you kind of combating that? Because it is two different. We're talking about a treatment for maybe an addiction or something like that versus the services you guys. But what are you seeing as far as the correlation goes and some of the bleed over into the services you guys offer?
Well, certainly throughout the history, as long as we've been doing this, the top 2 areas of need are criminal and landlord tenant, followed closely by family law and child support, divorce. And I don't know necessarily that there's an uptick in those particular cases for criminal, but what we're seeing in that area is the opening of veterans treatment courts, which recognize that a lot of times a legal issue is the result of some other issue that sometimes was even caused by the military. Sometimes you see PTSD or traumatic brain injury that leads to drug use, that leads to other criminal matters. And so I think the opening of the Veterans Treatment Courts is in response to that. It's staffed by judges who understand these issues and can look at it as a whole package and not just, did you break the law this time, but kind of get to the underlying causes of why did you break the law, and can we help you get treatment for the addiction or other abusive behavior that you have.
No.
Oh, all right. So Vicki, I know that you had some letters that you wanted to read. So
Yeah. One of them is my favorite. And we do get great feedback from the veterans that we serve. And so I'll share this with you. It is from, and you have to bear with me, it's a little long, but it's a letter to a volunteer lawyer of military matters from a Vietnam vet. And the vet says, I am writing this letter to express my gratitude to you for the help you have given me during the past year regarding my request for benefits to the Veterans Administration relating to the Agent Orange and PTSD claim. After struggling with the VA for 3 years and getting nothing but the bureaucratic runaround, I have finally broken through by receiving a letter from the VA yesterday indicating they were granting me a 70% benefit for my claim of PTSD. There is no question in my mind that this would not have happened without the assistance you provided me over the last year. I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know how to navigate this process. I am sure that is why there are so many of us that just give up and drop our requests. Your expertise in this matters and your willingness to help me through the process kept me going. I had all but surrendered to the system before I met you. It was hard enough to own up to the realization that I have been suffering from PTSD my entire adult life. But having to fight with the VA to even be acknowledged as needing help pushed me to the edge. I began to believe there was no way out. Knowing you know what to do and how to do it gave me the first glimmer of hope I've had since I started this challenging journey. It gave me hope. It gave me the hope I needed to hang in there. For the first time, I knew I had someone on my side fighting for me, wanting me to succeed. I had a champion who not only believed in me, but more importantly, believed me. I can't tell you what this meant to me. You brought me back from the edge. You didn't judge me or doubt me. You reached out and said, let me help you. And those words changed my life. I want to express my gratitude to you and all the other people who helped make your work possible. What you are doing for veterans is so important. There are others out there just like me who are standing on the edge of their lives, believing there is no hope. My prayer is that you will be able to help them in the same way you have helped me. With sincere appreciation, and it's signed the veteran.
that's pretty awesome. I don't know what to say.
Well, it's, we talk about veteran suicides, and when you really start to break it down and wonder, did she just prevent one?
Yeah.
When they're just so overwhelmed and just literally are on that edge, unfortunately we can't talk to them, the ones that have committed suicide anymore. But, as much as we push mental health, we talk about different therapy modalities and things like that. Sometimes they just need help.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you get to that point where you don't know which way to turn. And yeah, I totally see that. So
that's our goal. That's our goal. That is our goal to help unravel maybe the what seems like the most difficult problem for the people that we serve, that will kind of open up the rest of their lives for them. If we can remove that hurdle, and be their guide through a scary, complex situation that they're not trained or able to understand sometimes. I mean, the legal system can be very intimidating and complex for those who aren't trained in how to navigate it. Just like I wouldn't want to run into a burning building, like we can run into the courthouse and help people.
Well, and I can just only imagine too, just the fire and the passion behind what you guys do, having both served. You're not just some nice citizen that has a soft spot in their hearts. Like, you've done the job, you've been there. These are your brothers and sisters you're helping. So,
and a lot of our volunteer attorneys are former veterans as well, or have served, and so they get it, and they understand that it can be a complicated system, but we're trying to make it easier. And and putting aside the veteran aspect of it, I mean, most of the mission of KCMBA is to provide access to justice, which is to make sure that people who need help can get into the courts and secure their rights.
Yeah, well, that seems to be in short supply nowadays, with everything that's going on. But I commend you guys for what you're doing. I think it's a fantastic program, and I'm glad you guys were able to come on and share.
Can we share with you a couple of other things that we've been up to?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kelly, did you want to talk about the 5K?
Yes. So one of the ways that we raise money is through this one 5K event once a year. This year it's on June 25th. Last year it was October. Because of the pandemic, we delayed it a little bit, and it was in the fall. Now it's in the summer, but it's a wonderful event. Vicki runs in it. I walked in it. Anyhow, it's at the World War I Museum and Memorial. And so it runs the circuit around that lovely area downtown, twice around the circuit. And it's a really fun event. It's a beautiful day, beautiful morning. And people can sign up to run, walk, and then you get to meet a lot of veterans and that kind of stuff. And I just think it's fabulous to get to meet other people who are interested in helping veterans. And you never know until you talk to them about why it is that they're interested in the military.
I will 100% be there, but I'm going to be with Kelly walking it.
I'll join you.
You can get up there with Vicki and run it, but I'm going to be in the back.
That hill back up is a little bit of a hard one, but I'm working on training this year. I'm going to try and run the first lap.
Don't train so much to leave me behind, because I'm still walking.
I'd be happy to have an excuse to walk. Vicki's very athletic, so she runs the whole thing.
I'll be with you. It's been a long, hard pandemic. I'll be with you.
But so that's on June 25th, and so the flyer for it is actually on our website. KCMBF Military Matters.
Yeah, if you guys could send me an email with the date for that and the website and all that stuff, I will put that up. We'll put it on our Facebook. Grab the flyer and put it on there. So,
thank you.
And no problem.
One more thing that we wanted to highlight, which may be of interest to the listeners, and that is we've just recently released a series of videos called Money Matters, because we recognize that sometimes bankruptcies can be the result of people who didn't have a good understanding of how the systems work and how you can be taken advantage of, budgeting, all these different things. So we have a series of free videos that are our volunteer lawyers just talking very simply and frankly about some really simple topics that can help you make great financial changes in your personal life that can kind of keep you out of financial trouble as well.
Like not buying the car from the military or from the dealership right off base.
Yes, making good choices for sure, for sure.
James, maybe you should watch all those videos.
But those are also available at militarymatterskc.org.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. And like I said, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic. And I'll have to tell Rich that too. And that's going to hurt a little bit.
Yeah, Rich is very active on our committee and one of our great volunteers.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Hooah.
So let's do closing thoughts. You guys can go first. Whoever wants to jump in. Not everybody at one time.
I'll say we're just trying to reach out to our veterans to make sure that when they feel like there's no one out there to help them, they should understand that there's a whole army of lawyers that are standing ready to assist them, no matter what their issues are, no matter what the type of discharge they had, or no matter what their service was like. We want to make sure that we're taking care of them and providing them legal advice and hopefully getting them out of any sort of holes they've gotten into. We just want to help.
Awesome. Yeah. And go ahead.
I was just going to add that if you don't need help right now, we hope to be here a very long time. Keep us in mind for friends, family members who may need help and would qualify for assistance. And if you want to help us do our good work, we also take donations on the militarymatterskc.org website.
Cool. Yeah, that's one of the things is that feeling of disconnection or not knowing where to turn, like what we talked about earlier. And a lot of the guys that I've talked to that have served, that's one of the biggest things is that feeling of disconnection, of they're not part of anything anymore. So they don't have that base or resource, that they can just go to when they need it. So yeah, I think what you guys are doing is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just really kind of blown away by it all. It just, so many times we have these different people on here where we just, they're like, hey, we do this, hey, we do that. And I'm like, I didn't even know there was a need for that. And then, just as we sit here and talk about that, especially, again, kind of like I said earlier, just sometimes as we focus on mental health, the best thing you need is just help.
Yeah.
And here they are just ready and willing to give it. And it's superb. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I guess we'll end this one the same way we end all of them. Do you want to do it this time?
No.
Come on. Do it.
No.
Do it.
I forgot it.
If you are struggling, there are resources. Military Matters is one of them. So reach out. If you know somebody that is struggling, let them know the resources that are out there. Be a resource for them and be an advocate. So everybody, thanks for stopping by. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Kelly, so much. We really appreciate it. James, thank you as well. I'll even say that today.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. And we will see you next time.